Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is actually gonna be a get ready with me to go on a date. So we're actually gonna be going to a museum, so I kind of have like a cute little schoolgirl type fit. I always think that's a fun fit for a museum type date. It feels, I don't know, scholarly or something, but that's what I got on. But I kind of had this whole blue wave. I can show you a picture of this kind of blue brown, like moody vibe that I'm trying to go for a little bit. And so I think I'm gonna have kind of some darker makeup going on to kind of balance out like a more mature face with the more kind of youthful fit that I have going on. So as you can see, I already did my hair, so now I just need to go forward and get my makeup done. So let's get to it. So I'll definitely have like a little bit of tips and tricks that I use when doing my makeup. So we definitely can go through that. I'm actually just now looking for my Patrick Ta blush, but here we go. Okay, perfect. So I've already put on skincare, so I think I am just gonna do a really minimal base. I often don't really put on foundation very often unless I need a full beat for pictures. But other than that, generally I'll really just focus more on doing my under eyes and actually just kind of conceal a few areas. So because I already have my skincare done, I'm gonna go in with the NARS, I think it's just their creamy concealer. So I'll go in with this first. I'm actually in the color Cafe con Leche. It's not great for me during the winter months because I get so pale. There's such a difference between how dark I get in the summer versus the winter, but we'll go in with this. So I just like to put a little bit right where I have bags that you probably already could have seen. So I'll put a little bit there, and I actually, as already one hack, I wait for it to set. It gets tackier, especially this one versus there's also like a potted version, which I prefer, but realistically, like I always wear fake nails and I don't like having to scoop it out that way, and I'm too lazy to use a brush. So here we are. But I also get red right under my nose, so I'll also put a few dots under there. That one I don't wait to set and get as tacky because for some reason with this one specifically, the coverage looks better if I do it right after, but I definitely wait for my under eyes to set. I feel like it helps avoid creasing, and it just looks better. So got that, and I actually, as you can see over here, I have no idea what's been going on. But I've been starting to break out a little bit in my jawline, so I don't know. I'm starting to look at gut health videos and trying to figure that out, because I definitely think there's something hormonally off that I've been breaking out. I've never really had bad acne, so it's kind of come to a surprise to me. Anyway, so yeah, again, just spot conceal certain areas. That's really as much as I generally do for like a base, and I'll still go in with bronzer and blush. All right, so now that I've been waiting on this for enough time, so I'm gonna go ahead, dab, 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 blend that out, dab, 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 blend that out. Awesome. So I always think that looks so much better. I look so much more awake once I do that. So perfect there. I'm just going to grab, actually, I think today I'll do a cream bronzer. I always alternate between my cream products and my my powder products. Just, I have no rhyme or reason really. I do tend towards having the cream products in the summers and then having the powder products in the winters, but here we are, full-fledged winter, I'm gonna be using my cream. So I like to go just above like where your natural indentation would be with the bronzer. I feel like that is generally how I get a more lifted look and really accentuate my cheekbones. I also put a little bit at my temples to kind of narrow the forehead. I put some down the sides of my nose just to kind of give that more snatched skinny nose effect. even though I still kind of also like the button nose. So I'll put a little bit at the top right here, and then a little bit at the bottom. I think that helps create the button nose. You'll see I also like highlight in the middle. We'll get there. I put a little bit on my jawline too to kind of snatch that as well, because I don't know if any of you girlies actually have any suggestions, but I always have a hard time because I don't have like the most snatched jawline naturally, because I have kind of a rounder, fuller face. So sometimes this can look a little muddy and like I've mismatched my foundation with my neck. So I try and blend it out the best I can. But you guys will see. Okay, awesome. So I actually just kind of as a little, I guess, hacker tip is generally just to make sure that like this color becomes like wherever I have like would have darkness in my face. I also put some just a little bit on the edge of my eye so that I also can blend that out and kind of create the same shape. And it's kind of replacing like where you'd have a shadow on your face. So to have anywhere that you would have a shadow, to make sure you have that consistency of that color. Otherwise it almost starts looking like a little bit wonky. I definitely feel like I think about like contouring as like painting your face, like if you were to actually have to paint your face, and how to make that look like the most natural. Okay, so give me 1 second. I just have to grab a brush. So I did also forget to say, for the contour, I use the Nudies, the Nude Stick Bondi Bay. I don't know if this actually is going to want to show up. I guess not. Okay, so I use the Nudies Bondi Bay. Love this color. I think it's always been great. This is a tried and true for me. And then I actually have a Real Technique brush that is so old. It's their sculpting brush. And this is like one of my all-time faves ever. I like that the bristles are really compact and thick. And I also like that there's an angle. So I feel like I can really control where my contour is for a cream contour. I also use it for a powder contour. I don't know why it works out so well for me. It still helps to diffuse, even though generally for a more diffused look, you'd want to have more like longer bristles, but it's what we do. So anyway, so I like to blend it all out, and generally I take the edge of the brush and I push up and backwards. You don't want to like really go all over your face. You want to like kind of push it up and backwards to make sure you're getting that snatched look. Again, I feel like I actually, for some reason, do more makeup in the summer, so most of the colors are a little bit off. They look better on me when I have, again, a bit more of my bronzed look. But there's no real rhyme or reason of what I go into and blend out first. Generally I do the cheeks though, but it's just how I do it, I guess. And then I kind of go into the sides of my forehead, blend that out, and then I do the eyes next, and I just kind of drag. I pick the brush up and then I put it back down every time I drag. Again, just making sure that we're getting everything to be in a lifted versus continuously like pushing it, you know, back towards our face. So I'm not really like, you know, it's always wax off versus wax on. Awesome. And then so again with the chin, I blend upwards. Everything's blending upwards. This one I try and like drag down a little bit just so I don't look as crazy, again, like to try and avoid it looking like it's a different color that I'm supposed to be, you know, wearing on my neck or something. This is the only way I've gotten to make sure that it doesn't look too crazy. And then I do this side. The nose, I'm a little lazy, but I definitely, doing the nose, I probably should use a smaller brush to go in and be more precise in blending it out, because I definitely just kind of get a little bit of like a more muddied nose. But once I put the highlight on, I feel like I have no issues. So I kind of, with this, tap, 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 instead of like blending, just because, again, I'll kind of swipe down a little bit, but I'm trying to avoid just like muddying my whole nose and not just having one giant blob of a, you know, deepened tone nose. And then for this one, I sometimes just do this one with my finger, again, to not like overly muddy my whole nose. So that's how I go about that. And again, I put the bronzer, no matter what eye look I'm doing, I will put the contour or bronzer there regardless. Because again, I just feel like with whatever eye look you're doing, it still helps like to reintroduce it. So even if I was doing like a whole like heavy matte black look or something like that, still put it there because I feel like it really elevates and changes the way the makeup look looks. Okay, so there I've got my bronzer done. Actually, sometimes I'm feeling a little crazy. I'll contour the bottom of my lip. I don't know how you girlies are doing it with the top because I look crazy with that, and I've definitely seen a lot of YouTubers hack that one, but I'll just do the bottom. It creates a shadow, it makes your lip look heavier, and that's why you do that. So this is another one where I don't want it to be like all over my chin, so I'll kind of use my fingers. They're a great tool for makeup, I think. So I kind of blend that out. So as you can see, like, it looks just a little bit more pouty, which is also the hack of if you use a darker lip liner, which I will also show you. I have a tendency to do. Awesome. Great, so we've got that. So next I'm going to do my eyes. And again, I kind of wanted to go for more of like all over moody brown, like very 90s. This whole look is gonna be very, very 90s. So again, let me grab a brush. So I've actually been loving these. These are all the e.l.f. bite-sized palettes. This one's in the color Truffles. I actually use this color oftentimes to do my eyebrows as well. I'll help define them. And then I'm actually gonna be going in probably with a mixture of these two colors today. So I probably should have opened that to show you, but yes, so that's how that's gonna look. I'm gonna do my eyebrows really quick first. I have the Anastasia eyebrow pencil. This has been my ride or die. Honestly, I probably should be buying a new one at this point. But I feel like the bristles have always held up. Like, it's remained like really compact for me. It's really great. So to do my eyebrows really quickly, this is gonna be just kind of the fast version of how I do my brows. But generally, I kind of dab like both sides of the brush. And then, sorry, I actually have a mirror over here, which is where I'm doing my makeup. So apologies if I'm not looking directly at the camera, but I'll do this brow first so that it's easier for you guys to see. So I actually will do a line above the bottom of my bristles of my brow. The bottom of my bristles of my brow? I don't know. I'll do a line at the bottom of my brow, but above the longest part of my hairs. Because I'm generally not trying to get a fuller brow. I look best with a little bit of a thinner brow. So I'm just trying to really highlight and fill in my brows. So I drag that line all the way, and I have like all these extraneous hairs, and if any of you girlies were over plucking in the 2000s, you will probably feel the same way that I refuse to pluck those, just in fear of over plucking my brows ever again. So I just keep them, but I don't bring them into this look. And then I just connect at this corner piece. So I just kind of do a straight line all the way through, connecting at this, corner piece right before it becomes the tail of my brow. And then I'll lightly kind of just fill in a little bit, but not touching, like in redefining the shape, but not touching too much. And then I'll just brush up my brow and try and get that product a little bit more through my hairs. And then I'll go back in the same pat in the product, and then I'll actually just kind of like redefine the shape at the bottom one more time after the product's already been distributed through. So that's generally how I will, especially as like a fast, do my brows. And I just do as much rewickering of that as I need to do until I'm happy with how it looks. It's kind of just a back and forth. Awesome. So I'm gonna get that. Now I'm gonna do my other brow. So sometimes I'll actually also go ahead and put in brow gel, but I'm just trying to be quick with this look today. Awesome. Okay. So perfect. So brows are done. Now I'm going to do kind of my all over brown, very 90s, almost like grungy. So it doesn't need to be perfect, kind of like brown eye look. So I'm gonna go in again with this lighter brown first, and then I'll probably do a little bit of this brown over top the whole eye. So this is gonna be, again, kind of like that, like fast, messy 90s look. Honestly, I probably should have put a primer over my eyelid before I did this, but we're kind of functioning in YOLO right now, so we're gonna do this. With these types of looks, I generally, instead of smoking it out, the 90s look, I'll kind of do more of the round eye. So like I'm working the product like more in a circle around my lid versus like blending it out this way. Again, generally to do like the more rounded look helps to draw attention directly to the eye versus the more like sexy siren eye, which is probably usually more of my staple, but I've been vibing with this lately, so we're rocking with it. Yeah, so just reapplying, kind of just slowly, gradually building the product up. I'm gonna do the other side. It's always best to be gradual with this process, as you don't want to build up too much of the product in one area. And I always like make sure that I'm well hydrated. That is a step that I never miss, of making sure I have on some type of moisturizing treatment or just moisturizer, because you can get real patchy and it will skip. Like no matter how nice of a and blendable of a eyeshadow you use, like that can always create problems. So I'm again just doing that like half circle shape throughout, touching up, making sure they're the same. Lighting's not the best in here right now, so just making sure it looks the same on both sides. Perfect. And so one other thing I do is I actually like to take the same brush. I also forgot to say this is a Morphe E22 brush. So it's a smaller or kind of mid-sized fluffy brush. I think this is really great for diffusing, but still giving you a lot of control. And if you're unfamiliar, always a hack is to hold it at the back of the brush versus too close in, because it helps you to diffuse easier, because otherwise you're applying too much pressure and you're like getting too much product in one area. So back, perfect. Okay, so I dip back in to my lighter brown, and I always go under my eyes. I always just think, regardless of whether I'm doing a smoky eye or not, I think it just creates just like a mild dramatic look, like a baby glam, and I love that. So we go underneath. I also just have like the worst bags and dark circles. I feel like it's not picking up on camera, thank God, but to me it helps really like almost blend my bags into like the eye look and makes it look like less cray. So I'm gonna continue to just kind of darken that up under my eye. Perfect. Okay, and so like I promised, I'm gonna actually go in a little bit with the darker shade here now, and just kind of like almost like carve my crease a tiny bit. Again, it's gonna be, I want it to be more of like an all over wash, but I just think that this helps add some interest. I love layering with eyeshadows because I really think that it helps create kind of an interesting dynamic on the eye if you have more than one, especially if there's like it's a matte look like I'm doing today. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit more, I think, to each side. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So now I actually think I'm gonna go in with a eyeliner. I do think, because so I've got navy blue on today, but I'm actually mixing, which I always thought I hated so much, navy blue and black. So I am actually gonna go with the black eyeliner. Normally with like a all brown look, I would avoid that and do a brown liner, but I think I'm gonna go in with this. And if I wasn't going on a date, I probably would do like my entire waterline and really just make it like this like very vibey thing. But obviously we all know a waterline is impossible to control and I have to be touching it up, and I don't want to be worried about that. So I'm actually going to be going in with the, you know what? No, I was going to do a liquid liner, but I actually think that, as I was kind of talking about with that e.l.f. little bite-sized palette, I might actually just still go in with the like the darkest shade. I think it is a black. I don't think it's a dark brown, but I'm gonna go in with that and kind of do the more smudged liner look. So let me use that. So when I do smudge liner, again, this is like my favorite, one of my favorite tools. I go back in with the Anastasia. I use that as well. I think, again, it gives me really good control. So I'll do this side first, and I might have to do the other side off camera because this is going to be a struggle. But basically, I have like obviously very almond eyes. So I generally actually just pull straight out and then connect. I also have hooded eyes. Like, as you can see, like if I look straight at the camera, like you can see that you can't see my eyelids. So generally I just do that and then pull straight in. I don't think I've overly hooded, so I don't do like that bat wing technique, but we'll go with this. So as you see, I just kind of connect from the end. I do my eyeliner a few different ways, to be honest. But I can continue to show that, like the different ways I do it if you guys like want to see it. But anyway, so as you can see, like there's actually a space between like my waterline and like the edge of my eye, and then where I do it higher up. I think it helps, again, like help lift my eye and my eye shape. So that's kind of where I place it is why I place it there. So again, I'm gonna just kind of connect it right into the rest of my lash line. And this one I'm gonna keep it really simple this time. And actually, one of the other things I've started liking to do, again, just to make it a little bit more like dramatic, is, I mean, this closes your eye off. It makes it less, it makes it more sultry and kind of less like big-eyed, even though that's like kind of what the rest of the look's going for. But I am just gonna apply a little bit of this dark shade. I didn't dip into my product. I'm just kind of using whatever's left over from the top and just kind of smudging into my lash line to kind of just create like still like a little bit of like that smudgy, smoky effect, but not too much. So went in, did that side, and I'm going to do the other side. Don't worry, I am failing live currently. Making a mess. I will say though that generally using like these are e.l.f., like they're great for the money, but using like a nicer palette to do this is generally better. The powders are creamier and for a nicer product, and most of the time they glide on a little bit better and you get less fallout. So as good as these are, I still get some fallout when doing this, which can be a pain to clean up. All right, and then still just going in and smudging out the underside. This is a great view capturing my bags that I perpetually have. Awesome. Okay, so I think that's about all I'm gonna do for eyeshadow. So now I'll move on to highlight. I will say, so mascara is actually like one of the last things I do because I hate trying to put highlight around the mascara and then it gets in the mascara and it becomes a mess. So this is literally just because I'm lazy and for ease. I'm going to be actually using the Halo Glow e.l.f.'s highlight, and I think this is the champagne. Okay, that's the color is champagne. So I'll be using this today. I know a lot of people hate these types of applicators because they're kind of grimy and gross. I have a tendency to agree, but I just ignore that because they are so convenient. Because this look, generally I would go in with like a more like golden highlighter because of the gold accents that I'm wearing. But again, for ease, I'm just gonna be using this today. So generally the places I highlight is tip and nose, and I keep this kind of blinding. I think it's really cute, and I dab this as I go. This is not one I let it set. Yeah, so I think it's cute to kind of keep it more like, to establish kind of that button nose. So I put it like right on the tip, and then we'll kind of dab it out to like the side. So it kind of creates this like upside down triangle almost. I also will highlight my brow bone on both sides. So it's a commonplace, even if like obviously I'm doing a matte look, but even so I still put it there. Again, I think it helps to just draw the eye to certain points. Again, just like you're painting, it draws the eye to certain points, which is helpful. It like almost creates interest in the face where people will kind of like inspect your face in certain areas. So to have like that bit of shine, like it brings people to look in certain areas. Oh gosh, so I'm messing up part of my eye look, but there we go. Okay. And then I'll actually do my Cupid's bow and then my inner corners. So for Cupid's bow, I kind of like try to keep it flat and then draw it along my Cupid's bow just to get the top part. This one's a little bit harder to do it with. And I make sure I'm kind of already used a lot of the product that's on the tip before I go in and do it. So I'm not like getting too much. And I try and drag it up to get actually like, I don't even know what this part of the Cupid's bow is called, but like there's like, you know, the skin that's like a little bit higher up. I try and get that too. I think it's really cute and kind of draws the eye like down the face. So then I'm actually gonna get a little bit more product back on my wand. Okay. And then I do the middle, I'm sorry, my inner corner. This one I always get a little bit lazy with and it drives me nuts because I'll transfer it because I'm about to dab, and then a lot of times I'll transfer it accidentally like up. But I feel like this is super great for doing that inner corner, even if you were to like take it out, if you're being really invested and take it out separate from like whatever else you're highlighting. I think it's worth it. Okay, cool. So then also I like to put my highlight down before my blush because then I feel like I can blend my blush over it and I don't have such like a hard line of highlight. So hold on, I need to squeeze a little bit more out. Okay, and then I just highlight like right, like I don't know if everyone does, but I naturally have a lot of like pink pigmentation in my cheeks, so I can kind of find that line and just go above it and then swipe it there. But if you do not, I would say it's probably like you'll see that you have like your contour, your bronzer, and then your cheek will kind of start, I think almost for most people's face shape, like come in. And so then I kind of start mid cheek, swipe up to like almost like in line with where my eyeliner is going, and create that kind of like line. Anyway, so blending it out. Again, this is another one where I kind of just like dab, 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 to blend out. Because I don't really like to drag it around if it's cream. And again, if I had been using a powder blush, generally I would, you know, use a brush and then I could kind of diffuse it out with the brush. So this is a first date. So I'm not gonna go too crazy with it right now. But I do love me some highlight. Awesome. Okay. So now I'm actually going to do my mascara, because why not? So right now, this is disgusting looking, so I'm so sorry. I got it as just like a little sample, but this is the Ilia mascara. It's the Limitless / mascara. So I've actually been loving this. I think I'm like kind of a Maybelline diehard. This is actually one I usually always use, this Colossal. Like I've been using it since I've been using mascara ever. But I was kind of hoping to like up my lash game a little bit more than that one. And I think this one kind of like hurts me to apply because it's so spiky, but it's also like why I think it applies so well. I don't know if the applicator is coming across in the camera, but yeah, I can't get it. But it has this like flat line where you can kind of like just like comb the individual hairs apart, but then it also has like a regular like wand applicator too. So I really like that, and the formula is just so lovely. Plus, you know, it's a clean beauty brand and we stand that. So I generally obviously start at the base, but then I like to kind of like shimmy it through to make sure I'm gathering as much product as I can from the applicator. Excuse my mascara face. Everyone's got their own mascara face. So I kind of do that. And then I actually do always like 2 applications, like one initial and then one like touching back after I go to the other eye. And with this specific wand, one of the things that I can do is I can kind of, in the second round, like go through and try and like separate my eyebrows. That's actually an old hack that a lot of models would do, or like runway models or professional makeup artists, is they would take like a safety pin or something and actually like individually separate the eyebrows after there was mascara on them, so that you could make sure you get kind of that lengthening effect. And obviously it's not the best idea to have a pin right next to your eye, so love this for that. I actually, before this brush, had a other brush that I stole from another, it's actually right here, from another mascara that had like another similar type brush where it had like, you know, an edge that I would be able to like, I don't know why it doesn't want to pick these up, that I'd be able to comb my individual lashes with, but this is great that it just comes that way. So continuing to do my lashes. I'm gonna definitely have to learn how to do this on camera. This is like kind of crazy hard. Okay, and so like I promised, I go back after I do one eye, and then I go back through the rounds of doing the other eye again. I think that this helps. Like the first is really for lengthening to me, and the second round is really more about getting additional volume because it thickens. Man, my lips are so chapped right now. Okay, perfect. And because I have hooded eyes, I chronically get mascara on my eyelids when I'm doing this. So the hack I have for that, which I've learned in the years of me doing mascara, is to wait for it to completely dry. And as uncomfortable as much as it hurts, is to use a spoolie. And then just like, literally you can just like brush it off. I surprisingly didn't get any of my eyelids today, but like you can just brush it off and it flakes right off. It still hurts because you're putting like spoolie on sensitive skin, but it like doesn't disrupt the makeup underneath. It's like the best hack. I used to just like rue the day that would happen, and I would like have to go in with like toilet paper or something, and it would take off some of my makeup look, and I hated it. But there's another way, a better way, the spoolie way. Awesome. Okay, so once I get the top to an area that I'm happy with, I'll go in and do my bottom lashes, which we might have a case for me having to use the spoolie, because this is another area I'll get it all over myself. Awesome. I don't know why. There's some days where I feel like my eyelashes are so long, and then there's some days where I'm like, where did they go? Today is one of those days. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So again, let me get a brush for my blush. So another diehard brush that I use is this e.l.f. And I think it is actually a blush brush specific, but it's this e.l.f. brush. Again, it's got another like angled, but it's a little bit softer and less compact than my blending brush that I use. Obsessed with this for blush. I think it does such a good job. I'm probably gross, and I use it for both cream and my powder blushes, but I think it works great. So I've got this is always so difficult, as you can kind of see my like video setup actually in this. It's hilarious. But anyway, so here's the Patrick Ta, if it wants to focus, blushes. This one's in She's So LA. It's more brown again, to kind of just like continue my brown look that I've got going. These Patrick Ta blushes are literally phenomenal. They're one of my all-time favorite blush textures, I guess, that I have. It comes with obviously the cream as well as a powder, and it's so cute. They have like this like little like flippy thing to prevent the extra powder getting into your cream, which is brilliant. I really like Patrick Ta products. I think they're beautiful, and I think their formulation is stunning. So I'm actually not going to go in with the cream today because #lazy, but I will go in with the powder. And again, I think blush is another one where you want to start with less and then build up. Sometimes I actually like cheap blushes better because they're less pigmented and you don't just like start off with something crazy. It's like hard to monitor. So anyway, so I kind of tap also this in. I go from the front because I'm always going to want to build up the most product here, at least for me. And then I kind of diffuse it up and out. So one of the bad things about me doing Blushly, especially if I've used a non-liquid liner, where it like sets better, I actually generally like to drag and tap in some of my blush into the look again to kind of just almost like pretend like that's the color, you know, I would get where the sun naturally would like kiss me. If I was getting, you know, tan or had seen sun, it's maybe not so clearly, but it's raining here, so I have not seen the sun in a minute. But that's generally like how I like to do it. And then I start like after I tap and I'm starting to build, I kind of do like concentric circles backwards towards my hairline. So between the two, that's how I do that. Do the other side. And again, this helps to blend it actually into my highlight. So there's kind of, again, more cohesiveness between the two. And I don't really like to powder my brush before I hit into this area because I feel like if you hit it again into the pan, you've got too much product. So I kind of just use whatever leftover product from this to reinforce that. And sometimes if I'm wearing, you know, a liner that's, you know, based on just powder, I'll have to go back in and redo it. But that's okay, you know, we've all got our process. Okay, and so this is the only thing. So this is like, again, a lazy hack. So I could probably just go in with another brush and make this easier, but I'll squish my brush like this, my blush brush, and I'll dip just the tip in. And then I will go to blush my nose above the highlight. So I kind of reaffirm that button nose by putting blush there. And then I always like, because again, I like to go wherever, and I'm always heavy with it, as you can see, but I like to go with the same kind of like crushing the brush, and tap again into like wherever the sun would naturally kiss. Like I really think it helps kind of create a more natural blush look, like even if you're going crazy heavy with it. I honestly don't like my blush without it. Like I think it's necessary. These videos are gonna get so hard to make, I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like I'm talking like way too much. I'm generally a pretty quiet person, so hearing myself talk this much is unreal. It's like having my internal dialogue external. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Actually, so sometimes I do this, and this probably really does nothing, but I'll sometimes just like, again, because I'm trying to make like it cohesive, that it's a color that my skin would naturally turn, I'll go over my lips a little bit. Whatever color I'm using. That's probably like a no nothing, but I do it. So, awesome. So now, last but not least, I'm gonna do my lips. So I am obsessed with using liners actually as like my lip color. I do that really often. I think the staying power is huge, but it also gives a lot of color payoff. I also like that it's a more it's a velvety matte, but the reason why is because I feel like it looks like a more hydrated lip versus like a matte where it could like make you look dry or whatever else. So I actually will, first things first, I do have chapstick on. So generally I have chapstick on with whatever I'm doing as a first layer. Don't need to reapply that, but I'm gonna actually be going in right now with this LA Girl Perfect Precision Lip Liner in the color Bear. I do think this actually might have come in a kit. I don't remember. So I'll have to see. I know it's not showing up. Okay, there we go. But I'm going to overline my lips and then fill them in, and I'm actually gonna go in with a gloss after this. So again, I'm gonna go overline. So I go underneath my natural lip line, and I make it pretty heavy of a line underneath, and then I go up and just connect. I end up like almost like rolling in and then connecting I try not to overline on the edges. So I'll go back to my natural lip line there. And again, one thing I've also learned is make it poutier in the center. Like if you're gonna overline, only overline in the center so you don't look so crazy. So I am doing that now, overlining the bottom and then again, connecting back to my regular lip line. So then on the top, kind of the same thing. When I do the sides, I'll like tuck my lips under because it's a flatter surface. And this one I have to build a little bit, which I don't mind. But just so you know, that's why I had to go over so many times. Also knowing about a cover, actually, the highlight I did, sometimes I'll put the highlight back on over the Cupid's bow highlight. Okay, and so this is a new thing that I've been trying out. I don't know how to feel, but I'm gonna do it today. So I am actually going to draw over my Cupid's bow and just like connect it to add like additional pout. What I think's been super cute about it that I've been doing it is, for some reason, it's like an illusion. Like you can still see your regular Cupid's bow line and like it doesn't make it look like I've just got like, I don't want to call it like sausage lips, but just like these overly plump, like weird, like I don't have a Cupid's bow lip, which I think can look a little iffy. For some reason on mine, at least, you can definitely still see the definition of both. And it's like overlined, it looks cute. It still reads as like a fuller lip, but it's not without being able to see my Cupid's bow, if that makes sense. So by example, you can see here. So again, I have to go over this a few times. For some reason, this one's actually, I love the color of this lip liner. It's not my all-time favorite because I feel like it's actually a little hard to use because the color can be inconsistent due to the fact that you have to like go over it so many times for color payoff. Okay, so like see, you can kind of still see it. And again, I'm gonna go in with the rest. This is actually really cute though as a color to like do a different color on the interior with another lip liner or lipstick. I love this color. But anyway, I'm actually gonna go all the way in and just color in the rest of my lip with this. Oh, I'm so sorry. My lips probably look so dry and gross to be this zoomed in on them. And actually, give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna put a little bit more chapstick on because I'm still looking a little crusty. So my favorite chapstick is actually the Carmax, another like favorite of runway models from forever ago. The only issue is it's very like medicinal herby, so like it kind of sucks if you're gonna be like eating or drinking anything because like the flavor gets into that, but it's literally tops. It's so freaking good. But I am going to apply that over really quick. I'm actually going over with the gloss, so I'm trying to almost use this as like a protective layer because it has been, even though it's raining, it has somehow been so dry here. I will also just say, in general, if you're not aware, potted formulas are actually generally a little bit different. Like even with like, when you think about it for concealer, a potted formula generally means that it almost has like a higher concentration of the product versus like if it needs to be manufactured to be something that's like squirty, it won't be as dense. So generally I tend towards potted lip products in the winter, and then I'll stick to my like easy squirty because obviously that's like way more hygienic. So as you can see, I also love that it kind of like melts with my natural lip color. I generally try to avoid just like looking to like manufactured of a color. Like I really like to generally have like a lot of my features peek through like any look I do. So that's an important part. Anyway, so now that I've got all of that done, I'm gonna go in with the NYX Fat Oil. This one's a more recent pickup for me. I'm such a packaging girly, and I think these are kind of like, I don't know. I don't like them like the way they look, I guess, but they've been phenom. I think most NYX products are. I'm just generally not drawn to their packaging, so I normally don't get them, but I did love that they were like, had that doe foot applicator that's like much bigger. I think everyone likens it to the Dior one. But this color is actually in Scrollin'. So they actually have two of these. This is the one that doesn't have the sparkle. So I'm actually just gonna lay this over top my entire lip. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I always get driven nuts that like I want to put my lip gloss over lipsticks, and then I like ruin the applicator because it's got a bunch of crap all over it. Oh, I'm doing a bad job. Hold on. I'm like getting product all over my lip. Awesome. Okay. So actually one thing I will do because of that is I'll like have, you know, like a little like tissue or something, which I generally do whenever I'm doing my makeup, right next to me. And I will like just kind of wipe it off. So yeah, as you can see, like, I don't know if you can really tell, but this one's darker, and then these are my next two dabs. So I had a lot of that liner actually like transfer in. So one thing I'll do, I don't really feel the need to do this, but just as like another hack to show you guys, but it's actually super great because again, like the lip liners, there we go. The lip liners will often come off when you're using like a gloss or something like higher on it. And they're already themselves like a really dense product. Sometimes like for two different reasons, like I'll put it back over whatever I just used, either to get a more true tone color and re-add the color back in, but also like if you have a liner that just like doesn't apply well anymore, using it over your product is like gorgeous. It often gives such like a good effect. You won't get like crisp lines if that's what you're about, which I'm not. A lot of times I'll even feather it. But I think it's just such a beautiful application. Awesome. So again, this is another thing where like I'm not trying to disrupt my product, so I'll just kind of like wipe off that lip gloss from my liner. Awesome. So again, I'd already done my hair, I'd already gotten dressed. This is kind of the final look. I will put on a little bit of setting spray since I have so much powder on my face. I actually still use, I still think that they're not animal friendly, so this makes me sad, but the smell of it is so lovely. But the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus, you know, it's been like a beauty staple since forever, the beginning of time. It takes me forever to get through these because I always forget to set my makeup. I forget to prep and I forget to set. So that's where we're at. But oh, I hate doing this when my hair is already done. Generally, I actually do my makeup first and then I'll do my hair, but for the sake of this video, I just kind of wanted to have the hair done. So I just kind of keep it far away from my face and drench myself in it. Did not like talking while doing that. It felt gross. It's like getting into my mouth. So I do this. I think it helps. I don't think it helps that much. So if you're not a setting girly with like that type of stuff, I definitely think priming is so much more important than setting. But I've never used one of like the big scary setting sprays like the Urban Decay Set All Day. So that one's like obviously notorious as like one of the greats. But anyway, this is the final look. Lighting came in perfectly so you can kind of see it better, but awesome. Well, thank you for getting ready for my date with me and hope to see you back on my channel. Have a good day.